It's D-U-E-U tell. I see you by this point, you're reading my mind. It's time for football. We about to keep this thing moving. I'm about it, you're with it, let's do it. We gon' make this thing official, you heard me? If you're the best, then let's prove it. The goal is set to have a team become a unit, man. We about to keep this thing moving. I'm about it, you're with it, let's do it. We gon' make this thing official, you heard me? If you're the best, then let's prove it. The goal is set to have a team become a unit, yeah. D-U-E-U.
Welcome to Football Game Plan's NFL All 32 show. I am Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook, and today we're going to preview the Jacksonville Jaguars. And before we get things kicked off, let's take a look at some of the key storylines heading into the Jaguars season as we go into our 4-minute offense. The Jacksonville Jaguars are all aboard the Gardner Minshew hype train this upcoming season. He performed well enough last year as a 6th-round rookie to unseat the high-priced free agent signee Nick Foles. Now, Jacksonville even took it a step further in showing their good faith by bypassing selecting a highly rated quarterback in the 2020 NFL Draft, and it's their belief that Minshew magic isn't some fairy tale, flash in the pan type of a thing. Instead, it's something tangible that they can continue to build a franchise around. Last season, he had 3 fourth-quarter comebacks and 3 game-winning drives, showing the flair for the dramatic. He also completed 60% of his passes, throwing 21 touchdowns to only 6 interceptions. Now, if that touchdown to interception ratio continues to be that way, and he becomes a much more effective intermediate to deep ball passer, then the Jags could potentially have their guy that they've been looking for since David Garrard. This year in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Jaguars made 12 selections, and that's a big number of newbies coming into a program, especially when you consider that they had about 20 departing free agents. Now, with guys like cornerback C.J. Henderson, edge rusher Kayvon Chasen, wide receiver Laviska Shenault, and offensive lineman Ben Bartch, they're expected to have significant roles as rookies even start in some cases. Now, the Jags are banking on the youth to come in and help get this team over the hump. When you look at it from that perspective, it makes sense on why they grabbed guys that had a lot of polish coming out of college. Yes, a few here and there may need a bit more fine-tuning, but for the most part, they went after plug-and-play guys that can contribute immediately. And when you factor in their youth, along with the youth of the team in other areas, it'll be an interesting case study on whether or not a very young team can get it together and win. As Doug Marrone enters his 4th full season as the Jaguars head coach, it feels like this is a pivotal year for him in Duval County. He took over a team in turmoil back in Week 14 of the 2016 season, and in his first full year as a head coach in 2017, he was able to get them within seconds of a Super Bowl appearance. Since then, it's been consecutive losing seasons with consecutive seasons of controversy within the team, from getting into it with star players to trading away star players. Has been nothing short of drama for the Jaguars since 2018. Now, with another offseason of turnover in the books, and with the current situation of the pandemic that has already affected the NFL calendar, it seems like the 2020 season will be one for Marion to show the Jags brass what he can project to be moving forward. I think he has a great chance if he's able to win this season and or get this team to the playoffs. Considering the situation, he'll show that he's the guy they need for the long term. 5th-year veteran Yannick Ngakoue is in the midst of a contract situation with the team and has made it clear that he wants out of Jacksonville. The team has placed a franchise tag on him, but he hasn't, and has also stated that he will not sign with them. Over the course of the winter and the spring, he was embroiled in a back-and-forth spat with Senior VP of Football Administration and the owner's son, Tony Khan, about his displeasure with the organization. Ngakoue is an integral piece of their defensive puzzle, especially up front, and when you consider that this is a defensive line that lost Calais Campbell, Marcel Darius, and Dante Fowler all during the last 4 seasons, losing a player like Ngakoue and his 37.5 sacks and 42 TFLs would be detrimental to a young team that's looking to its youngish veterans to provide stability. If Jacksonville and Ngakoue can't make this situation right prior to the season, it could be the kickoff of what could be yet another tumultuous season for the Jaguars. It's Gardner Minshew's team for now, and if you're the Jaguars, you hope for the future. While Minshew's style and personality, and in some cases his play, give you a lot of optimism, one can't ignore the fact that he got benched last season because of his performance, which hindered the offense at times. What the Jags are banking on this season is his consistency and confidence becoming much more flatline across the board, which should allow for the offense to really take off. And if he has to take a seat again, it'll be between Josh Dobbs and rookie free agent signing Mike Glennon to help guide the team forward. Dobbs gives them some of the same mobility that Minshew has, while Glennon gives him a veteran who has started a lot of games in the NFL. Now in the 6th round of the draft, Jacksonville took Jake Luton out of Oregon State, who's a stronger arm version of Mike Glennon, in my opinion. I like what Jacksonville has put together in their backfield. They have a very solid stable of backs led by former first-round pick Leonard Fournette. We saw Fournette be used a lot more in the passing game last year, leading the team in receptions with 76 and was 4th in yards with 522. He also topped the 1,000-yard mark for the 2nd time in 3 years, and I think he gets a bad rep nationally, but he is still a great prospect at the position and still is one that teams have to game plan for when they face the Jaguars. Raquel Armstead is their primary backup, but he only finished with 35 carries on the season, and one would figure that number would increase a bit more this upcoming season. The team also signed Chris Thompson in free agency, and he's a talented receiving threat out of the backfield, but has to find a way to stay healthy, which is something that has plagued him his entire career. Keep an eye on undrafted rookie free agent James Robinson out of Illinois State. He was the MVP of the East-West Shrine Bowl this past January and was a record-setting runner in college. He has Aaron Jones-like ability and could factor into the mix. So could undrafted rookie free agent fullback Connor Slomka out of Army. He figures to be the guy if the Jaguars decide to carry a fullback on the roster. At wide receiver, the Jaguars are a very youthful group, but one that the team will look toward for significant growth this upcoming season. Last year, we saw second-year wideout DJ Chark break out, going over 1,000 yards last year, being the only Jag receivers to do so in the process. Chark has the speed and acceleration to get deep and quickly became a favorite target of Gardner Minshew. D.D. Westbrook, to me, still has the most polish of the two and hopes to crack the 1,000-yard barrier for the first time in his 4-year career. And Chris Conley was signed as a free agent last year and was second on the team in receiving yards with a very healthy 16.5 yards per catch average. Now you figure Chark has positioned himself to be their number 1 receiver with Westbrook and Conley flipping between 2 and 3, which puts both of them in the crosshairs of rookie 2nd-round pick Laviska Shenault from Colorado. Now he's a Swiss Army knife type receiver who can thrive as a flanker or as a slot or even in the backfield sometimes. I believe the Jags view him as a matchup piece on their offense that can serve in a multitude of roles on game day. At one point, Keelan Cole was the DJ Chark on his football team, but has slowly fallen down the pecking order of things, but still has that explosive speed to find a role within the rotation or on special teams. And I actually like the potential of 5th-round pick COLLIN Johnson out of Texas. He is the Jags' biggest wide receiver and could give them a bona fide X out there on the perimeter. Look for him to work himself up the depth chart pretty quickly. At tight end, the Jaguars are hoping that the health that Tyler Eifert showed last season is a sign of things to come, because when he's healthy, he's the type of receiving threat that causes problems. They lacked that last season as they dealt with some injuries, but Eifert is coming off his best season since 2015, which was also the last time he played over 12 games. They do get back James O'Shaughnessy from injury, who is a very solid player in my opinion, as well as 2nd-year player Josh Oliver out of San Jose State, who also missed a majority of his rookie season with an injury. Now, as they continue to reconstruct the position here, keep an eye out for 2 rookies, 6th-round pick Tyler Davis out of Georgia Tech, as well as undrafted rookie free agent Ben Ellefson out of North Dakota State. Both guys offer up solid skills in the passing game. Up front along the offensive line is another area where I feel the Jaguars could surprise. The talent is there. It'll be all about consistency this season. I do think Cam Robinson is going to take a huge step forward this upcoming year. Last season was his first full year after an injury-plagued 2018, so look for him to get back to the prospect that we saw in 2017. 2nd-year player JAWAAN Taylor out of Florida got better as the season went on, giving the team a ton of optimism heading into 2020. In my opinion, both Robinson and Taylor give the Jags 2 solid bookends. On the interior, AJ Cann, Brandon Linder, and Andrew Norwell are good starters, but yes, Jacksonville definitely needs for them to step up and become dominant. This is what they're hoping to get out of rookie 4th-round pick Ben Barch out of St. John's out there in Minnesota. The former Division III standout was excellent during the Senior Bowl week, showing that the step up in competition from Division III to the NFL may not be as big of a jump for him as originally thought. He figures to work into the rotation a lot this season. And speaking of rotation, they have solid swing depth with Will Richardson, who can play both guard or tackle, Tyler Shatley at center, and both are capable of playing multiple positions. I do like some of the developmental pieces as undrafted free agent Trevor Wallace-Sims out of Missouri, and 2nd-year player Ryan Pope, the mammoth tackle who comes over from the Detroit Lions, figure to factor in that depth rotation as well. Taking a look at the Jaguars' defensive line, starting with the edge rushers, and you have to be excited about the second-year potential of Josh Allen. Last season, he led the team in sacks with 10.5 and is primed to break out this upcoming year. He also chipped in with 11 TFLs and 31 solo stops, so he was a complete defender for the Jaguars last season. The hope is that he can continue to pair with the likes of a Ngakoue, but that seems like an eventual split between Ngakoue and the team. Maybe that's why Jacksonville went ahead and spent one of their 2 first-round picks on K'Lavon Chase in the pass rusher out of LSU. The hope is that the Jag staff can unlock his potential and have him have a Josh Allen-like rookie season. If he can become a threat like they envision him to be, it'll make it easier to move on from Ngakoue. Jacksonville also brought in free agent Aaron Lynch from the Chicago Bears to provide some pass rushing depth at end, along with JAWAAN Smoot. Now at defensive tackle, they'll look toward former first-round pick BRYAN to make a major leap forward in his development. He earned more starts last season with 8 and will enter the season as a full-time guy, hoping to provide interior pass rush. Free agent signee Rodney Gunther from the Arizona Cardinals gives him a veteran presence there who does a solid job on both ends of defense. And they do have 2 girthy defenders in Aubrey Jones and rookie Devon Hamilton out of Ohio State. Jones is a space occupier in the traditional sense, while Hamilton can do the same, but gives them a bit more quickness and pass rushing ability off the ball as well. Both guys figure to see a lot of time this year up front, and Jacksonville also brought in veteran Al Woods from Seattle, just adding to the increasing depth they have at defensive tackle. Bringing in Joe Schobert, who was a consistently solid player for the Cleveland Browns, helps Jacksonville at inside backer. He's got very good awareness and seems to find the ball in coverage. Now, his arrival will help slide Myles Jack back to a more natural run and chase position, which is where he can get back to being disruptive. I'm a big Leon Jacobs fan. I think he figures to have a leg up over second-year player Quentin Williams, but if Williams can show signs of growth after an up-and-down rookie season that saw him get benched, then he upgrades the overall athleticism, in my opinion, at the second level. But keep an eye out for rookie backer Shaq Quarterman from Miami. Jacksonville drafted him in the 4th round and should see time inside within the rotation. He was a steady player for the Hurricanes throughout his career. The secondary has seen a lot of turnover in the last couple of seasons, and now as a result, the Jags have a pretty young group to work with. Rookie first-round pick C.J. Henderson out of Florida was one of the top corners in the draft class, and Jacksonville needs him to be great right out of the gate. Henderson has very good ability and reminds me a lot of Bradley Roby. Now, opposite of him is Trey Herndon, who started last season at corner and looked to be one of the surprises last season on defense. He's entering year 3 and is looking to build on his 2019 season. A healthy DJ Hayden in the slot figures to be a consistent player, but his starting role isn't guaranteed, as rookie Josiah Scott of Michigan State was one of the top slot corner prospects in the class and figures to make a play for that starting role. They do have some veterans to provide good depth in Perry Nickerson and Rashawn Melvin, who comes over from the Detroit Lions, but I think they found a steal in undrafted rookie free agent corner Luke Barkoo out of San Diego State. He has outstanding ball skills and A+ awareness, and it'll be interesting to see how he factors into the mix this upcoming summer. At safety, they're stable in my opinion with Ronnie Harrison and Gerard Wilson. The duo play well off each other out there on the back end. I think we'll see a jump in Harrison's game this upcoming season. I foresee the same for reserve Andrew Wingard, the second-year player out of Wyoming. I like how he takes aggressive angles to the ball carrier and is a solid special teamer. He and rookie Daniel Thomas out of Auburn will help round out the unit. Football Game Plan is brought to you in part by 9th and Lux. Visit the website 9thandlux.com and check out the clothing gallery. Do You Music with featured artist IW and his latest album, Mr. Hunter. You can find that available on iTunes as well as Spotify. Nesby Phipps, art, life, entertainment. NesbyPhipps.com. Grind It Out Fitness. Visit the website grinditoutfitness.com and download the app. The Academy of Broadcast Media in Hackensack, New Jersey. Football Game Plan is brought to you in part by Financial Coaching LLC, investment, retirement, security. Stewardship Credit, financial growth is in your hands. Stewardshipcredit.com. Adrienne Marie Photo, photographer, writer, management. AdrienneMariePhotography.com. Lock Multimedia. Be sure to order your copy of the Go-Go Offense by Coach Brennan Marion on footballgameplan.com/GoGoOffense. Coach Marion goes through the ins and outs of his explosive offense, one that's tearing up the college football field and putting a lot of points on the scoreboard. Again, you can order your copy at footballgameplan.com/GoGoOffense. Folks will be surprised at Tyler Davis's ability as a receiver. Many believe he's just a blocker type with minimal upside as a receiver, but I would have you go and check out his tape at UConn prior to transferring to Tech. He's going to surprise some people during training camp. And we just spoke about Luke Barku and what he brings to the table as a corner. Watch how many times the ball ends up in his hands during training camp. He's got a great chance to make it. Offensively, I think 5th round pick COLLIN Johnson out of Texas will have the biggest impact. I know the easy choice could have been Laviska Shenault, but I think because of the route running polish and the ability he has as a bigger wide receiver, we'll have him flying up the depth chart and subsequently making his way onto the field. CJ Henderson is the obvious choice defensively. It speaks volumes of how a team views you at corner when they expect you to come in as a rookie and start. Henderson will prove them to be right in their assessment. The biggest offensive X factor is quarterback Gardner Minshew. If he can provide stability at the most critical position on offense, then the Jags have more than enough pieces to be a factor in the division, but it'll depend on Minshew taking a major step forward this season. Defensively, I look at edge rusher, the rookie, K'Lavon Chasen out of LSU being the biggest X factor. His is twofold. It helps the Jags become a much more dangerous defense and helps takes the sting off the potential loss of Ngakoue. It would also mean the Jags hit 2 home runs with their 2 first-round picks. Look for offensive tackle JAWAAN Taylor to have a breakout season. We saw the incremental growth in his game last year as the season went on. I fully expect him to pick off right where he left off. TAVEN BRYAN will have the breakout season that many in the Jags organization have been waiting on. The athletic ability has always been there, but this season I feel like the light will finally come on and shine throughout the year. One of the major reasons for optimism is the fact that they have a lot of continuity on offense from their backfield, quarterback with receivers. Their offensive line is intact. That allows you to hit the ground running in a COVID-19 pandemic type situation, but also from a continuity standpoint offensively moving forward. You also have to like the fact that you get to see year 2 of Josh Allen. We can see him become a perennial Pro Bowler down there in Jacksonville. Last year was impressive. I think this year has a chance to be special. Plus, they also have a strong special teams unit, not just in coverage and also return game, but you look at a guy like Josh Lambo and also Logan Cook. Those two are 2 of the best at their position in the AFC, and that gives you a chance to win each and every time you're out there on the field. A big concern would be the fact that they're implementing a new offensive scheme with new offensive coordinator Jay Gruden. Now, he's a tremendous coach, does a great job of putting together game plans and putting guys in position to be successful, but because of the pandemic and the lack of on-field time we saw or we didn't see with these guys during minicamp and OTAs, it could be a little hiccup for them going forward as far as making sure their offense is as cohesive as it should have been had things been normal. Plus, you look at the fact that they're going to be playing a lot of young players on defense, and asking young guys to step up and play veteran type roles early is always a challenge. So if they can allow those young guys to really play well, develop quickly, and do a great job, it should help them out. But that is definitely a concern going into the 2020 season. The road to the Super Bowl for the Jaguars goes as follows. If Gardner Minshew continues to trek in the right direction, if he's able to recapture what he had initially as a spark with that offense and carry that throughout the season, then this offense has a chance to be very good this upcoming year. Their run defense has to become top 10. They couldn't stop the run last year. Maybe that also led to a lot of the turnover that we saw along that defense line. But if their run game or run defense becomes top 10, they could be just fine. And they have to play great situational football. Third down offense, third down defense, red zone offense, red zone defense. Play great special teams, play well situationally, and Jacksonville could not only find themselves in the playoffs, but like we saw a couple of years ago, make their way down toward the Super Bowl. I have the Jaguars finishing 4th in the AFC North. I think this is an intriguing team, one that definitely has a lot of pieces and could surprise some teams on game day, but they have to find consistency. And if they can find that early, it bodes well for their chances late. But if they find it late, then that means 2021 will be their year. So that's it for this edition of Football Game Plan's NFL All 32. I am Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Be sure to follow me on all of my social media accounts, and don't forget to check out and subscribe to the Football Game Plan Network located at youtube.com/footballgameplan. Also subscribe on iTunes and leave us a 5-star rating. That's where you can find our NFL All 32 podcast. And keep it locked here on our Football Game Plan YouTube channel as we have a host of Jaguars related video content coming down the pipe.
It's you tell I see you by this point you're reading my mind. It's time for football. We about to keep this thing moving. I'm about it, you're with it, let's do it. We gon' make this thing official, you heard me? If you're the best, then let's prove it. The goal is set to have a team become a unit, man. We about to keep this thing moving. I'm about it, you're with it, let's do it. We gon' make this thing official, you heard me? If you're the best, then let's prove it. The goal is set to have a team become a unit, yeah.